So we're looking at Sleeping Girl, and I was always curious what you would see in almost like film still like that, because it's not just an image, but there's a narrative going on.
There's definitely a narrative going on. When you're standing close to it, there's a certain peaceful quality about it. I mean, she is asleep. When you back up, you can see that actually she's frowning, she's worrying. Of course, she doesn't have a bubble over her head, but she's still saying something. If you know his work of this period, she's clearly worrying about a man. She's wondering, does he love me? Is he gonna leave me for her? So she's tormented.
What does it actually mean when you see somebody sleeping? Because you clearly are in the room, and you clearly haven't woken her up. Have you not woken her up because you were in bed with her? And
we're not in bed with this woman. We know that from the angle that she's painted. We're looking down at her. Have you ever been in bed with someone who said, I've been watching you sleep? When you're sleeping, you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable not only physically, but you're vulnerable because someone can really examine you. You can't hold that mask. You can't do that pose or arch that eyebrow.
Yes.
So the fact that we're watching her sleep and that she's vulnerable is another idea, by the way, of how men perceived women, the ideal woman at that particular moment. Beautiful, gorgeous, but vulnerable. Objectified, but they're always emoting. There's, in a way, a much more intimate quality, I think, to what he's hoping to capture about women in his paintings. Lichtenstein was in the war. So, in the war, you have pinups of your girlfriends.
Which might have been Vargas girls already.
Absolutely. Then you dream of that idealized woman who's waiting for you at home. She's beautiful, she's blonde, she's very American, and she's worrying about her man. She's thinking about her man. I also like the melodrama of the images because our idea of life then was so melodramatic. Emotions were this way or that way. Pop culture was very, use this deodorant and you'll be happy. And everything was exaggerated. With the tongue-in-cheek way that he throws that back at us and has us look at where we were culturally at that period of time is one of the things that makes his art the most interesting and so true to its moment. Our beauty ideal for women today is very different because today's beauty standard is harder, it's more powerful, it often dominates. It would be interesting to see what he would be painting today as today's ideal woman. It tells you a lot about the man who's painting the woman by what he chooses to see in the woman.